Yeah. Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? Ryan the Mighty Quinn here, the cornerman underscore MMA, with a good friend of mine, one of my former coaches, MTB Michael Thomas Brown. How you doing, sir?
Doing great. Quinn, how you doing? All good?
All is good, man. I've come a long way since putting up a shower curtain behind the kids' room there at ATT, huh? When I did that interview last time.
Looking good.
Thanks. Yeah, I got a picture of us up here too, with George and Pitbull. This is a few years ago, more than a few years and 50 pounds ago. But
Dude, I love the setup.
yeah, thank you. My wife surprised me with it. She did a great job. It's, good stuff. So I wanted to have you on. Obviously you're always busy. I was actually just trying to think of, all stuff that you've always got big fights going on. So I know they just announced the Poirier Chandler fight, but the fact that you're in big fights you're perfect for this, because a lot of the discussion here is on mixed martial arts scoring and the disconnect between fighters, fight camps, and the commissions and judges. Now, because of that, there's disconnect with the fans, et cetera, et cetera. So I know you had your share of, calls not go your way for silly decisions or silly scoring criteria, or just opinions you may have that you've come across along the way. So we're just going to speak on that. But the first question I have for you is, what do you think was the worst decision that you've ever been a part of as a coach for one of your fighters, and why was it George Masvidal versus Al Iaquinta?
I wasn't coaching George at that time.
Oh, you weren't? I thought you were in his corner at that time.
No, I was not. No, I wasn't in the corner for that one, but that was, a pretty terrible decision. That was up there in memory of one of the bad ones, right? There's a handful of bad ones that kind of stick out, and that might be, one of the bigger ones. And it's tough because it changes the trajectory of the fighter's career so much.
For sure.
A split decision win compared to a split decision loss is everything, and all it is just one guy's decision, right? Deciding I like this a little better, and it changes your life dramatically. But there's been a lot of them, but George is up there.
Yeah.
Is there something you're thinking about?
No, I was trying to think of some. I think maybe it's because we're biased or unbiased. I think that's the worst one that I have seen within the last 10 years. Now I'm trying to think of some along the way. Another one that was really bad, I felt this is way back, I felt Matt Hamill beat Michael Bisping. That was a pretty bad one, I felt. Yeah.
I remember at the time that was a big deal. And it's not always winner or loser. Sometimes it'll be, you're certain that it was 30-27, and then it comes up 29-28, and you're just like, how could anybody have given a round to this other fighter? You see this quite a bit, but it might not make the, headline news because it didn't change the actual decision. But there's sometimes you're just blown away at what a judge might be seeing. Right.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I wish, and it's been a little bit better than I thought it would be, but it could be a lot better, is the ability of the commissions to communicate with us. I had Andy Foster and Mike Mazzulli on here. I've been speaking with Jeff Mullins in Nevada. He's going to come on. But then I've had these other people respectfully decline. I think that's part of the issue too. It's kind of like, I feel like we know we're going into a fight, but it's kind of like you invite me to your house for poker. Quinn, we're going to poker. And I say, 5-card draw or Texas Hold'em. Google it, man. Google the rules. It's like, dude, why don't you tell us what you're looking for a little bit more before we tell you to change, be a little bit more approachable. What is one thing that's a reoccurring issue that you feel with that you see? It's maybe it's not a night by night basis or week by week basis, but the one reoccurring thing that you see as a real frustration or a disconnect with the scoring.
First, I'll say I don't think it is as bad as people say it is.
Hmm.
Of course, there's some bad nights, there's some bad rounds, but I think overall, it's not that bad.
Right.
Way better than boxing.
Hmm.
Boxing is like, seems to me, not just incompetent, but it seems corrupt. Where in MMA, it seems like more of just incompetence sometimes. Like, oh, it was a close round, but it should have went this way and not that way. Uh, and I think that's where you're seeing it. When you have a close round these days, I almost look at it as, hey, this could go either way because it is a bit subjective, and you're not certain which way the decision is
Hmm.
going to fall on those specific rounds. But when the round is pretty one-sided, we're usually going to get the right call.
Yeah.
When it's one-sided. In boxing, it doesn't even have to be close. It can be completely lopsided, and it looks like straight up corruption.
Yeah. Yeah. I do want to say I didn't bring you on here to bash the commission or anything, so I'm glad you did say that you don't think it's that bad. I don't think it's terrible either. Especially after reading the rules, like I spent a lot of time reading the rules that Association of Boxing Commissions has. I'm like, okay, I could see how the scoring means that, but I think that it could be tweaked here. That's kind of where I'm at with that stuff. But
It's a bit subjective, right?
yeah,
It's so one person might like this, another person might like that, so it's not,
yeah,
it's not points. You're not saying, oh, this is clearly 2 points, that's 1 point. Oh, an
mhm.
escape, that's a point. No, there is none of this. It's just you're looking at as a whole, and how do you feel? What does it look like to you? And so anytime it's close, you're going to get that subjectiveness,
Right.
where maybe somebody likes something uh, a little more than something else.
Absolutely. Now on paper they're not supposed to be subjective, but let's face it, everyone, it's impossible not to be. I have opinions that I'm sure people think are absolutely blasphemous. Like I think that chokes need to be a little more heavily scored, and certain submission attempts need to be heavily scored as far as damage is concerned. I'm sure people throw that out the window.
But that's where it's
Um,
subjective, like
yeah.
what is important to you? What is it?
Mhm.
The going for the submission? Is it the control? Is it the pressure? Is it is it
Yeah.
defense? Is it style? There's so much going on in there, and it's kind of like to one person's eye to another person's eye, things look a little different.
For sure. Now, it's funny you bring up the points. Like, we don't have to get into that open scoring conversation. That's always reoccurring. But like, a lot of people say that like, oh well, in amateur wrestling, they have periods, which is similar to rounds, and they have open scoring. And it's like, yeah, but you know what else happens in amateur wrestling? Your referee is, or your scorer, referee slash judge, so to speak. He meets you before the match. And he says, hey, listen, this is 2 points. If I see you stalling, I'm going to call it quick in the third. Like they let us know. I wish judges would be a little more approachable at like weigh-ins meetings and stuff like that. Mike Mazzulli started implementing the scoring criteria pamphlet. I guess we met on the middle on that. I thought that was cool. But another thing is, like you said, there's points. Joe Rogan recently just said that, I know I have this crazy theory that there should be, instead of 10-8 must or 10-9 must, we should have like 20, 30 points per round, and at least that's more definitive, so to speak, and then that also allows, which a lot of, even Andy Foster, he says he wishes that a lot of the refs were a little more aggressive with pulling points. If you have more points to give, you have more points to pull. So the 10-9 must, like, I'm not all about abolishing it, but I do think that there's some stuff to work within that. Do you think that that could be tweaked along the way, or have you ever even thought of that?
Yeah, of course, it's not perfect, and obviously there's got to be a better way. I'm not certain exactly what that is, but
Yeah.
we now have so many years,
Hmm.
20 years plus, 30 years plus
Of
of
data. Yeah.
the system. So we're so used to it. To like just completely scrap it and start something new would be kind of weird.
Yeah.
Uh, but it could be done.
Hmm.
Definitely not. I mean, it's more ideal for boxing. It was created for boxing.
Yeah.
But
That's another reason why I think people need to remember why we have the 10-9 must is because like MMA needed to be legitimized, and how do you how do you put this across the desk and relate it to boxing? It's similar to boxing, so like I think it was kind of a favor done to us as fighters, to actually put the 10-9 in, and it got it done, so like I don't like it like you said, it's easier said than done, it's not an overnight thing. So last question I have for you. Is there any changes that come to mind that you wish would see done, whether not necessarily the scoring or just the process of getting the message across, anything along those lines as far as to connect the fighters, fight camps, and judges and commissioners?
uh, I don't know anything specific that would help because, well, I think it's I guess it's more about the judges. I guess if you want to know how it's going to be scored, it's not necessarily the head of the commission. It's you need to talk to the individual judges,
Right.
which we never hear from.
Yeah.
Right, the judges never speak uh, in public that I know about. Really, I never see any conversations held with the actual judges, and I think they're the ones that really need to be heard
Yep.
to know exactly what they're looking for. And some might like one thing a little more than the other. You just want to know in their mind what they want. I
I'm with
guess
you
that's the big
100%
deal.
on that. Go ahead. Sorry.
That's good.
No, I'm with you 100% on that. Like that's where I was like saying with Mike Mazzulli, like we don't know who our judges really are as fighters until our hands are being until the fight's over, and that's you always know who the field judge is, in football, baseball, umpire, and umpires, they have the mound meeting before they go over what they're looking for, and then like I said in wrestling, it's like if you have a preference, like in amateur wrestling, like the referee says before the tournament finals or before the match, like he tells the team, listen, I don't want to see you stalling. I'm going to throw you up for timidity. Like just, okay, at least now we know what this guy is looking for. That's why I wish the judges were a little more like, I wanted to judge at the weigh-in meetings where they go over the safety rules and stuff like that.
That would be a great idea.
Yeah.
That time where
Hmm.
you speak to the referee in the
Hmm.
rules meeting where they explain to you, what the rules are and what they're looking for, and hey, you got to give me a thumbs up if you're being choked, yada yada yada. This type of thing.
Yeah.
That would be really helpful if you had like the judges there at that moment go over and say like, hey, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I want to see. And I think that would, but sometimes those people are so hated that
Yeah.
that they might there might be some friction going on there with the athletes and the judges. But that would be a great time to have them talk about what they're looking at.
Yeah. Like we got to protect the judges, like you said, or like you kind of said, but there, yeah, I think there needs to be a little bit more communication there. Um, the commissioners I spoke with are kind of bullish on that idea, but I think that's before we talk about change, we got to discuss what we want to change and if it needs to be changed. And I think that just letting the fighters know what these people are looking for. Hey, listen, I got it around a piece, and you're in the corner. He doesn't want to see you. He doesn't want to see you just hold him against the fence. He's not going to score. Like whatever, like we know. So. But Mike, that's basically it, man. Thank you so much for coming on. I know you're busy. You're going back to the gym later. Have a great evening, and best of luck the rest of the year with all the big fights coming up.
Hey, thanks for having me on. We'll see you
All
quick
right, buddy. See ya. Thank you.
later.